Okay, now on this assignment, we're going to be creating banner ads from key art. And the different banner ads that we'll be creating is 250 by 250, which is a square, then a smaller square, which if you look at it, you're just going to probably take this one, resize it down to 200 by 200. You could probably just do that when you save it for web. You could go in there and change the height and width, or when you constrain the proportions, it should just be one of the two, and it will make it whatever you put for the height would automatically change the width. We're going to do a half page large rectangle, inline rectangle, 468 by 60 banner, which is horizontal, and then a leaderboard horizontal again, 728 by 90 large leaderboard, skyscraper vertical, and a wide skyscraper that should look vertical. If you see these here, these are pretty much the ones that you'll be creating. I'm just going to do one with the artwork that I'm giving you this time. This artwork here was done 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm going to do one with the artwork that you have here. So what you want to do is download it first. So click on it and then go to the 3 dots, open a new window, and you should be able to download here. Now you have a fonts folder where I know that a lot of times when you guys hand me stuff, I'm seeing the fonts being substituted, so they're giving you the fonts here. Then you have logos just in case you need to use them, and the key art. So the first thing I would do is load up your font. So you could just double click on that and just install that font. All right, now I'm going to go into Photoshop and I will open, I think it's in the downloads folder, and here we go. All right, so we have a vertical here. All right, first thing I would do would be to maybe check your size, see what size you have here. So image size is, I would always go down to pixels. So we have 1920 by 1080. To check your size, you just go to image size, and that's where you can see where your size is there. Or you could just look down here. Now, let's look at the layers. All right, so it looks like there's a bunch of layers here. If there's one that's not being shown, I would just delete it. And the background looks like you don't need this, so I'll delete that and delete this because it was hidden. And that's how they give it to us. All right. Now this layer, looks like it's like a hazy yellow that is underneath these 2 layers. So I would kind of set it up in a way where these look like it's all the dates. I'm not so sure what this is. There's nothing in a folder. That means that that you could delete it because nothing's in there. They're giving you folders with nothing in there. So that's the logo. I think what I want to do is take the date, and it has this yellow hazy, kind of looks like it's text, but it seems to be like it's seems to be like it's text that shouldn't be there, or it's yellow that should be underneath, mimicking the text that you have here. So let me just, because it says Paris here, so I think that the way to do this would be to duplicate the date here and then turn it into a smart object by right clicking, getting this menu, and then turning it into a smart object. Then I can double click on this side of it. Well, let me just do this. Instead of double clicking there, I'm just gonna right click on color overlay here. I'm gonna copy layer style. Now I'm gonna let me just take this up. Take this one up a little bit. I made this one. This is yeah, that's the one. Alright, so I'm going to right click on here, and I'm going to paste my layer style there. So I just kind of copied from what they had and pasted, because it kind of seemed like it was like that. Alright, now I can just get rid of this here. And I can take what I just created which was, I'm not so sure what this is. This still says Paris. I'm just going to delete this one too. Let's make it simple. So there and here. Now for those two, I think what I'm going to do is, unless I need to stack these, because if it's a vertical, you probably need to put this underneath. I'm going to do the square so that I can show you how to do two of those at once, because you need a 250 by 250 and a 200 by 200. So let me do the square and show you how to do that. I'm going to right click over here, having both of these selected, right click, and then make that both into a smart object. So it's going to turn it into a smart object. Alright, so I have one, I have two. I think I might have to make that into a smart object too. Then we have support and a logo. So this, I'm going to name it. And this noise on top. Now, if you notice, I take the noise off, see what it does there. So we need that to be on top. Alright, so now let's create our file. Let's create our new file. Let's go Command N. And before we even do that, I want to make sure that everyone is seeing what I'm seeing. If you don't, go to Window, Workspace Essentials Classic. And then you could also reset Essentials. It'll just put everything into place. All right, so we'll go to File, and then we'll go into New. We're going to create a new file, and this will be 250 by 250. And this should be our square. It's pretty small. Okay. Now the first thing is, now you want to keep everything in kind of like the same layout. So I know it's square, so we're going to have to push everything closer together, but we want to keep the same layout, and we want to keep the same sizes as opposed to one another. So the hierarchy of type needs to be the same. So you see how this is a certain size. This is like almost the same size as this, and it seems like these are two the same size. You don't want to take one, put it over here, resize it, bring this over here, resize it, because it's not going to be exactly the same. So what I would do is I would let me think about this, because every one I do is different. So this one, this is already saved, so we can mess around with this file now. So I'll take the logo, bring it up. It's probably going to be up here because we need to have it into a square. So in order for us to make a square, we are going to, I'm just selecting the layers by right clicking on each object. I'm selecting that layer, and you see that if you look, the alignment, I think this logo was aligned with the A, so you want to keep that alignment. All right, so I believe that this is, I'm going to make a makeshift square here. So I hold shift and I drag out with my rectangle tool here, so I have enough space. All right, so I think that'll work. That layout will work. I could probably even move this logo down, but I do want to put these guys in there. So I'm going to have to see if I can select all of these, deselect here, and let me move everything down. I don't want to cover the face too much. I don't want to lose. So I could kind of do this and move this logo down so it's not covering the guy's face. I don't think it would matter too much for over the hair here. So I think this would work. So what I would do is draw out my square again, holding down shift for this square. Hold down shift, and you might want to bring this guy's face up a little bit because he's being cut. Or else we could just move the whole thing down. That's a little better. We take this logo, bring it down just a little bit. Alright. Now, let's hold shift so it's a square. And square down. Alright, for this one, the easiest thing that I could think of to do is to go up and go to crop, and it's going to crop down the size here. All right, so now this is a bigger version, but it's going to fit right in there, and I'm just going to resize it. So I would make a copy, since it's the right size, so you could duplicate. Oops, I'm in the wrong one. I have to make sure that this is selected. Edit or image, duplicate, and I want to make sure to merge all the layers. So all the layers will be merged down. It's only should be one layer there. So see that, and I'm going to select all, copy, and I'm going to go over into this one here. Let me close this one so we could just go into this one. We're going to paste into this one. It's a lot bigger, but this is the way it is. So let's resize, Command T, or edit transform. So, or free transform, either one. All right. So once you get in here, I'll go Command 0 so you can see this bottom, and then just resize it into the box there. Hit return. It's pretty small here, but this is how it will look. There's times where people say, oh, can you resize it so we could see it? But a lot of times they don't want to resize it. They want to keep it this size because they want to have a certain look throughout. So I would think that this would be good to go. So what I would do is do a save for web. So you go File, Export, and then you're going to save for web. Now this should be, I will bring the quality up. This should be 250 by 250. You see it here. All right. Now I'm going to show you would hit save here, but when you do 200, all you have to do is put 200. You hit tab, it brings it back down to 200. You hit save, and then there is a format in which you have to save these. I'm pretty positive I put it in there. Let me make sure. So the square, let's see. Pretty sure I put it in here. Okay, here it is. Your name, the size, and description. So how it looks like here. Let me just copy this. And I can paste it in here. So this could be your first, last name, and then this will be the 200 by 200, 200 by 200, and then this is, you want to look at the this here. So it says it here, square or small square. I think this one's a small square because I made it 200. Yeah, 200. So call that small square and save it to the desktop. And there goes. That could be 2. Right there's 2 that quick. But some of the other ones may take you a lot longer. So that's basically how you could go about doing this. It shouldn't take too long, but if you have backed up work to do, you should be able to catch up by Friday. So I'll give you till Friday to do this.